Welcome back. It's good to be talking to you again. We're finally reached the time of year where we're after the high holidays and we look around at the world that we're in and we start to see real changes. The approach of autumn and winter to come behind it heralds itself by the leaves changing colors. The sky starts looking a little bit different. The light starts to get diminished. On one hand, that can be depressing, and on the other hand, it's see you in September or even October or November, and there's the possibility of the new school term and the realities of a new terms in college or new part of life coming up before us. And that's all those emotions are welled up in us by what we feel and primarily by what we see. This week's Torah portion is Vayera. And it says, and God appeared. In this particular case, it's God appearing to Abraham, or really God appearing to Abraham through the messengers that were sent to him. But the idea of lirot, of seeing, is not just an important concept in this week's Torah portion. It is an important concept throughout the narratives of the patriarchs and the matriarchs in our Torah, and it's an important concept in Jewish life itself. Vayera, lirot, to see, becomes the way in which Abraham connects to God. He sees these malachim, these messengers of God coming forward to meet him. Towards the end of the Torah portion, in Genesis 22, God tells Abraham to lift up his eyes and to look out and to see Hal Moriah, the place where Isaac will almost be sacrificed, where the temple will ultimately be built. And it's Hal Moriah, the mountain of vision, the mountain of seeing. In this week's Torah portion, we see the expression, Yisayet Einav, Abraham lifting up his eyes. And as the Raibal points out to us, this expression in the Torah, to lift up one's eyes, always implies something more than simply looking up from your cup of coffee and seeing someone else walking into Starbucks. It always implies some kind of a deep emotional or spiritual connection, just as Jacob is trying to achieve a connection with his brother Esau when Jacob returns from Israel. And so it is through this Torah portion that God and Abraham really become combined, connected. Abraham lifts up his eyes and sees the ram that is going to be sacrificed instead of his son. God will see the ram for himself. And even Ishmael, even the progenitor of the Muslims, in this week's Torah portion, God says, I've taken notice of him, I've seen him. And Hagar, Ishmael's mother, desperate because Abraham has thrown her out of the home at Sarah's insistence, God says, and she looks up and she sees a well. And so the survival of Hagar and Ishmael is dependent on looking up and seeing also. And so this business of seeing, not just on a physical level, but on a spiritual and emotional level, runs all through this week's Torah portion, and as I said, all through the patriarchal narratives. It's an important lesson for us. As Jews, we are called upon to see what's happening in the physical world around us, like the coming of autumn, like the recognition of scientific advances. But we're also required to see and to connect with our tradition, with each other as a community, on a deeper and more spiritual level. It is the recognition of the other, even if they're not from our community, that we have to not just look at them, but we have to understand them. We have to, on some level, connect with them. And then, of course, on the deepest level, our tradition invites us to be connected to God. Not that we are going to physically see God, but that we will have that emotional connection to the divine and an emotional connection to the possibilities that exist in the universe because we follow God's mitzvot, because we see the importance of them. And so as the fall starts turning into the winter, Vayera, God appeared to Abraham, and if we do it right, God and the godliness in each other can appear to us as well. Have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.